A story of brotherhood, ambition, and the knife that comes from behind. Before the Agbada. Before the convoy of Land Cruisers and SUV, before his face appeared on billboards along the Lake Cape Expressway, Chidi Okafor was just a boy who sold pure water in traffic with his best friend, Tom Bello. They grew up in the same Face Me I Face You compound in Ajegunle, sharing one bucket of gari between two families some nights when things were hard. Chidi's mother sold akara by the roadside. Tom's father drove a Moyu bus until his knees gave out. The two boys made a pact under the mango tree behind their compound, the kind of pact only 15-year-olds with nothing to lose can make. Whichever one of us blows first, Tom said, spitting into his palm and holding it out, he go carry the other one come out for poverty. No matter what thing happen. Chidi spat into his own palm. They shook on it. Blood brothers, though no blood was ever actually shed, just sweat, saliva, and the desperate hope of two boys watching Lagos glitter just out of reach. 15 years later, that promise had become something real. Chidi Okafor had built Okafor Logistics from a single rickety truck into a company with 40 vehicles moving goods from Opopopo to every corner of the southwest. And true to his word, Tom was there beside him, not as a staff, not as a driver, but as an executive director. Co-founder in every way that mattered, even though the papers, if anyone had bothered to check, told a slightly different story. You see, when they registered the company back in 2011, Chidi had used his cousin's lawyer, a fast-talking man from Warri who filed the CAC documents in a hurry. Tom's name never made it onto the shareholder list. It was supposed to be temporary, just for now, Chidi had said, make we fix am small. Tom trusted him. Why wouldn't he? They had shared gari from the same bucket. 8 years passed. The paperwork was never fixed. Nobody in Lagos business circles knew this. To them, Chidi and Tom were the inseparable duo, you couldn't mention one without the other. At weddings, at Owambi parties, at Sunday service at Household of God, they arrived together, laughed together, prayed together. But something had begun to shift in Tom quietly. The way harmattan dust settles on a car overnight, you don't see it happening, you just wake up one morning and everything is covered. It started with a woman named Ngozi, a sharp-tongued investment consultant who came to pitch Okafor Logistics on an expansion deal into Ghana. She was polished, the kind of woman who called everybody darling but meant nobody harm, or so it seemed. After the meeting, she pulled Tom aside in the car park of the day's hotel. Oga Tom, she said, adjusting her sunglasses, no vex, but make I ask you something. You dey own equity for this company. Tom laughed it off. Chidi and I build this together. We are brothers. Brothers know they collect salary from company where brother own 100%, Ngozi replied, her voice light as if she were discussing the weather. I don't check the CAC portal before I waka come this meeting. Nor so I dey do business. Your name no dey anywhere for that document, my friend. Not one share. She left him standing there with the Lagos sun beating down on his neck, the valet whistling for the next car, and something cold settling permanently into his chest. Tom did not confront Chidi. Not immediately. That was the dangerous part, the silence. Instead, he began to watch. He noticed things he had trained himself not to notice before, how Chidi's wife, Ada, referred to the company as, my husband's business, at parties. How new contracts were signed with only one signatory. How the company driver had once, months ago, mentioned in passing that, Tom no dey sign for account O, nor Oga Chidi one day do everything. He had ignored all of it. Trust does that to a man, it makes him deaf to warnings his own ears pick up. Now he heard everything. 3 months after Ngozi's warning, Tom began meeting quietly with a rival logistics firm, Coastal Freight Nigeria Ltd., owned by a stern businessman named Alhaji Musa Danlodi from Kano, a man known for swallowing competitors whole and smiling while he did it. Bring me the client list, Alhaji Danlodi told Tom over pepper soup in a private room at a restaurant in Victoria Island. Bring me the port contacts, the shipping schedules, everything your friend trusts you with. I go give you 30% equity for my company, plus signing bonus we go shock you. Tom stirred his pepper soup for a long moment. "E no easy," he said finally. "No, my brother. Brother, we don't dupe you for 8 years. Ajegunle leaned back, studying him. My friend, some people go call you loyal. Others go call you mumu. Now you sabi wetin you be. What happened next moved fast, the way betrayal in Lagos always does, quiet for months, then sudden, like a third mainland bridge traffic jam that clears in one violent burst of honking cars. Tom began forwarding emails. Client contracts. Shipping timelines. Even the confidential agreement Okafor Logistics was 3 weeks from signing with a Dutch import company, a deal worth more than anything Chidi had ever closed, one that would have taken the company from regional player to national powerhouse. 2 days before the signing, the Dutch company abruptly pulled out. No explanation. Just a curt email citing a more competitive offer already accepted. Chidi sat in his Victoria Island office that evening, staring at his laptop screen until the words blurred. His phone rang. It was his lawyer. Chidi, I don't know how to tell you this, the lawyer said, voice tight. Costa Freight just signed the Dutch deal. And? Chidi, I dey see your internal documents for their proposal. Your pricing structure. Your client database. Somebody leak 'em. Silence stretched across the phone line. Who get access to all of that? The lawyer asked. Chidi already knew the answer. There were only 2 people in the world who had access to everything, himself, and the boy who once shared Gary with him under a mango tree in Ajegunle. He found Tom at the office past midnight, going through files that no longer needed going through, a man tying up loose ends, though he didn't yet know he'd been discovered. Tom. Just the name, flat and heavy, dropped into the empty office like a stone into still water. Tom looked up. Something in Chidi's face told him the game had ended. Chidi. Make I explain. Explain. Chidi's voice cracked, not with anger yet, but with something raw, grief, maybe, for a friendship he was watching die in real time. I dey give you, explain. Tom, we don't share bucket of Gary together. Your papa carry me for him boss when my mama sick. I name my son after your father, Tom. And you do this. You never make me partner. Tom's voice rose, 8 years of swallowed resentment finally breaking the surface. 8 years, Chidi. 8 years I dey work like say no my own company, and my name no dey anywhere. You think I no go find out? I was fixing it. You never fix 'em. You never even try. Tom slammed a folder onto the desk. I be like staff for my own company. Everybody they call you Oga Okafor, the visionary. Nobody sabi say enemy they run half of this business. So when Ajegunle show me respect, when he show me paper we get my name on top, I beg, wetin you expect make I do? Chidi was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice had gone dangerously calm. So instead of asking me, you go behind my back. You sell everything we built to Dunlody. You no even give me chance to make 'em right. Would you have? Tom asked. Honestly, Chidi. Would you have? That question hung in the air between them, and neither man could answer it, because perhaps, deep down, they both already knew the truth. Okafor Logistics survived, though wounded. Chidi rebuilt slowly, this time with proper paperwork, proper partners, and a hardness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. He never spoke publicly about what happened. In Lagos business circles, people whispered theories, a bad deal, a jealous rival, bad juju even, but few knew the truth. Tom got his 30% equity at Costa Freight, just as promised. He drove a new Range Rover. He built a house in Lekki Phase 1. By every material measure, he had won. But 2 years later, at his father's funeral in their old neighborhood, he stood at the edge of the crowd and watched Chidi arrive, because even after everything, Chidi came, dressed in black, carrying an envelope of condolence money. He handed quietly to Tom's mother without a word to Tom himself. Their eyes met across the compound, the same mango tree, now old and half dead in the corner. Neither man crossed the distance between them. Some bridges, once burned. Don't rebuild, not because the fire was too strong, but because both men, if they were honest, had been striking matches long before either admitted it. In Lagos, they say, nor who dey your side for hunger, ego fit betray you for money. Trust builds empires. But trust without paper, without honesty, without room for a man's pride, that trust is just a slow-burning fuse, waiting for the right spark. The end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Your support means everything.